What's up, guys? This is Acidic Root. So you are going to be seeing more video games featured, and this is something that is kind of it's fun to watch. I'll say that. I mean, I've known Bomberman for a good while, so this is about 20 years ago. This was about as far as party games had gotten. I mean, this was one of the top ones. You had GoldenEye and I guess Madden if you could play multi-tap back in 97, 98, but the PlayStation was just kind of getting started with multiplayer games, but really we didn't have too many party games up until about the late 90s, so this is one of the ones that did it back in 93, 94 type stuff. So you're going to be seeing these four men, robot men, compete to see who's going to be the winner. So you can vote red, blue, black, white, doesn't really matter. It'll be interesting enough to see what happens. I mean, I'm going to do this more often, but I'm kind of basing the judgment to figure out what I even want to do. So, I mean, yeah, I could have played this game, but I don't know if I would have won. So obviously, the way the tournament is set up is whoever gets to 5 first is the one that's going to be the victor, and if you do become the victor, you get the Golden Bomber, which allows you to get one ability more than everyone else has. So, but you lose it if you don't win again. So it always goes to the winner of the current match tournament that you're playing. So, yeah, this is kind of an awkward little phrase. I mean, this series right here is gonna seem kind of peculiar for me to pick, just because I normally go for casual games to try and introduce them to a higher field, but this is a game that the cartoonish thing off from it kind of was off-putting, especially as football games, Grand Theft Auto games, and Gran Turismo games started getting popular. So the Nintendo 64 versions of this game didn't do that well, but really the Sega could compete with this game when it came out. So I felt like disrespect to this series, you can't really do it. I mean, it still is a decent party game, especially when you have more than 4 people. I mean, I don't remember the later versions of the game, but I basically paid attention up to when the Dreamcast game came out. There was like one called Bomberman Online, and I wanted to play that, but the Dreamcast kind of diminished before it could happen, and obviously you could play with 4 people at that time, but there was one for the Sega Saturn also. There were many. I was always looking for the one that had more than 4 players, but as time passed and the cartoony image kind of grew stale, I departed. I wanted to bring back homage to this series. I don't think I've mentioned that much on Acidic Roots, so it's time to do it. And really, these computers are kind of blockheads. I know they're just kind of walking back and forth, but this is the highest computer setting that there is, so they're just not aggressive. I think that's the whole thing. They're smarter when the humans are playing. They just don't seem to have their territories mapped out when it's CPU versus CPU. So, but strangely enough, I mean, you can play this in teams, which is probably what I would do if you were to play with me. Is I'd say, well, we're gonna have the 2 teams, the black ones versus the white ones. But yeah, so it was kind of interesting. I mean, obviously, I didn't want to pick the first stage. I mean, that's the one that I probably would have gone with, but I wanted to start things off. Because what you're supposed to do, you see these arrows, you're supposed to kick the bombs, and then the bomb will travel and surprise someone when it explodes. But they don't really seem to be doing that. I don't know if the kick has even come around. So once again, I really do think they're smarter when there's actually human players playing. This is just yet another Super Nintendo game I've featured, and I say the hell with it. So yeah, there's actually these guys have all sorts of colors. I mean, there's actually a green one in the Japanese versions. They even made it to where 5 people could play in Japan. So, but there's just no way of playing it without having a modded, machine. You'd have to get a Super Nintendo machine there to do that. But yeah, the 5th player was green, and later ones add like purple and orange, and some of those in there yellow probably. But I actually have attempted to beat this on 1-player mode. I mean, most people say that the 1-player mode is not as special as the battle mode, and I'm sure you've encountered something where those sorts of things happen, where it's like, the thing that they do is not what they're actually known for. You think it'd be like basketball, people liking the 3-pointers more than the slam dunks. I mean, there are some people who do, but I mean, you just get the idea. So yeah, so multiplayer is where the heart of the game is at, but I don't know, they actually make this character talk in later versions. I think they do. So he kind of has a voice like Mega Man, which is, cheery and androgynous, but, So as of right now, white, black, and red have all won games. The only one that hasn't is blue, and he is poisoned with the skull. So there he was. Yeah, he's poisoned. So obviously that's the one power-up that you don't want to get, is the skull one. But in some editions you can't even destroy it. So that's kind of the thing. You can almost, I mean, yeah, you're gonna have to deal with it one way or the other. But yeah, so this felt like a February game. I mean, really, something about it seems wintry. I think that's a word, wintry, but I knew I needed to get some extra videos on my channel to get people, because I have a lot of videos that are 15 seconds, 35 seconds and stuff. I know all the snot rockets and that sort of thing is, I would like to get some other ones going, but that's the only thing. I've got the talking videos, but it's just getting tougher trying to attract people to, sitting through a 13, 15-minute video when there's no, I mean, you need the juice. I mean, even movies understand that just having people drone on, there's not too many people that can tolerate that, but it just depends. I mean, I know what I'm trying to say here, but it's a little tricky trying to say it. Alright, it's white versus blue. Apparently, the black one had a lot of power-ups, so, which can actually happen. You get that many, it's like sit there and steal them from everyone else, and that basically becomes it. But yeah, now every player's at least won once, so this obviously means the tournament rages on. So there could very well be up to over 10 battles in this. So I'm trying to think, what's coming out. Super Bowl is getting ready to happen. I just found out my version of Madden NFL 06 doesn't work, so I was gonna do some extra stuff, but I don't really know what I want to do. I've also got a college football game. I'm trying to think. That's one thing. I don't even know what happens with college football. I don't know what they call it. Maybe it's called the Pro Bowl or something like that. It just makes me wonder what they do for their little championship run, because I know they have something. I've known what NCAA is. I just haven't. I think that's, yeah, college. But Yeah, that's the thing. I haven't talked about sports too much because I kind of wanted to take a more comedic approach, and I don't know how I would integrate sports with humor. I mean, that takes, Adam Sandler can do it. He's done it a couple times, but he's probably also been hip to sports longer. So, uh, but yeah, year 3, there's going to be more sports stuff popping up. I do have plans for football. I kind of want to get a hold of NBA Jam, try something like that. That feels like you could do CPU matches in that. So, I know that that was actually a pretty popular Super Nintendo game, and maybe I think it came out for the Sega also. I know I need more Sega games. If that would really astound me if on my Sega Genesis I had that game on there, because there's like 50 games that are on there. So if I could have, it's like, oh, you could play Madden, you could play Madden 95 on there or something. That'd be pretty awesome. I don't know what games they'd have. I don't know. I really think that Sega was kind of a hockey machine. It seemed like what it was. Hockey and maybe, I don't know about baseball though, but so in any case, yeah, sports is going to be happening and that sort of thing. Yeah. Don't mind me, I'm just picking my nose right now, so trying to decide where I'm gonna flick the enhanced booger. It's nice and yellow. It's kind of a yellow-green. It's funny when people actually have green boogers. I mean, those have to be the people that just don't pick their nose. When you see a booger that is green, like looks like lettuce green, that's those are the nastiest ones. So, but the booger's gone. Gotta reference Bomberman in one way or the other. Oh! So yeah, if you get to like the last minute or 30 seconds, this will trap you, so these guys are screwed, and that's it. They probably both would have died if they'd been, yeah. Yeah, this game has a password system also, so that is one of the codes that you don't want to press in, and there was I think there were jokes aside with it saying don't put in this code, but it's 5656. It's been in most Bomberman games, and I think that's what makes the blocks come, and they basically destroy everyone. So if you don't kill them before the minute runs out, when things start falling, everyone dies. But we kind of need more poison passwords. I almost feel like I should give you one. I did that back in the Cheeto video back in 2016. I said, put in like ass dumpling or something like that. Obviously that still is a cheat code that works. I recommend you search it up and see what you get. Magical cheat to put in the Google search. So, kind of funny. So all the Bombermen are still here. Just trying to figure out whatever else is going on this month. I mean, it's kind of quiet. The Grammys just happened. And, I kind of look at the Grammys the same way I look at YouTube. I mean, if you're looking for an honest music opinion, it almost felt like rap was over-featured this year. I mean, I like every time I turned around, there was some hip-hop oriented thing on there, which, really, Metallica had just come out, so I was trying to figure out why, they weren't there, but, I went on MSN and they said, this was one of the lowest rated Grammys in a long while, and I don't know. I mean, that's just the whole thing about awards. Is the biggest thing about entertainment right now is just trying to figure out. It's not so much I don't have confidence in these people. It's just I don't have confidence in what they're talking about. That's always been the thing. Is you know, you have the ability to make people laugh, but you're trying to be too family friendly. It's a skill to be family friendly, but it, you know, you get too much involved and you become namby-pamby, and that that's the thing. It's kind of like Bob Saget. You know, if you've ever seen something of his, you know, he was family whatever, Full House, and you know, he was like this heartwarming, this encroaching dad that everyone wanted as a dad if you were a kid, something like that. But then you realize in his comedy, his stand-up, he wasn't like that. He was a pretty crass dude. So that's a trap. You know, it's a trap that all comedians or people who are funny or entertaining fall into, and something you have to be wary of. And that's kind of YouTube's Achilles heel right now. They have one. Don't think that they don't. So, you know, I saw Logan Paul on the news the other day, and he was sitting there saying, you know, he's gonna change. I mean, really, it's not so much, you know, with that suicide video, it's not really about, you know, I mean, it was about the change of just not doing it, but it doesn't mean that, like, all of a sudden you're gonna be pro 5-year-olds. I mean, you gotta understand that, I mean, it's just not in a person who's 23 to sit there and say that the 5-year-old is not, it's, you know, it's just about who's more responsible. So it's not the 5-year-old or the 23-year-old, it's the parents that need to be responsible for it. I mean, you know, you have a child, you sit there and watch the videos with them and decide what to do. That's just where it comes from. But yeah, I mean, now we're getting in Planned Parenthood and that sort of stuff. So obviously, don't even get me started for all the females who are going to be watching this video who are going to say they probably would have quite a few opinions on this matter. I mean, obviously they're the ones saying we need to be more. I mean, the CEO of YouTube is a woman, so it's kind of, I'm not, you know, against like saying, you know, women need to do that, but you do have to understand, like, you gotta understand humor, you gotta understand entertainment. You know, Adam Sandler dealt with this for 20 years and nothing. I mean, he's been the same dude. You know, it's just something you come to expect. Then you pay attention to all these people getting lawsuits left and right. I mean, yeah, the perfect answer to that is there's a balance. I mean, just look at Al Pacino. I mean, how much trouble has he gotten in for being the asshole that he was? I mean, no one cared about him in The Godfather, so it's like, what are we talking about? You know, it's like, come on now. But back to our Bomberman. Apparently the white bomber is on the way, but blue is tailing him. So I think there actually was a draw not too long ago. There's actually going to be 2 tournaments in this. The second tournament is shorter. It gets to the nitty-gritty a lot quicker. So I'm not going to talk through that one, but I will escort you through the rest of this tournament. So nearing the end of. I'm not gonna say, well, yeah, you'll see what happens. But yeah, there was something else that was going on. I mean, this series still has life left in it, but I think for the most part, most people are still kind of saying, you know, the battle mode is still the best part. So, you know, it just makes me wonder if Hudson even bothers doing the story left in it anymore. Because this has gone through reconfigurations. I mean, they've tried so much stuff. They've tried doing like a Pokemon style thing where you get monsters and all sorts of stuff with it, but this has not been able to solidify as being like a classic one-player game. And really, if you do not have the 3 friends, you're just going to be playing the computer. So what will happen? All things considered. I've been drinking Cokes lately. I've returned to Coke. The last time I was, I mean, I had Cokes before this and after, but the last time I drank Coke obsessively was last summer. And, I mean, that was really the thing, was I just realized how much I liked it. I kind of have my sprees of when I drink it and when I don't, but every time I return back to Coca-Cola, I always kind of kick myself for not doing so sooner. And there's something about it. I mean, that was one of the first sodas, but it still is catchy. It gets kind of sweet if you drink it without eating, but yeah, it's... For some reason it just gives me an extra energy. There's just something about it. I mean, I'm trying to convey this into trying to sound more than just impressed with a 200-year drink, but yeah, I mean, just always around. I mean, when I sit there and vlog, I mean, Dr. Pepper is still my favorite drink, but Coke is definitely up there. Coca-Cola. And well, we've reached our ending. So alright, that should take care of it, and you'll be seeing this video just in time for Super Bowl. So, extra time, kick it, White Bomber won, we will find out what power-up he wins, everything like that. And like I said, the computer are not this stupid when you play with them, against them, rather than them fighting each other. So he gets an extra bomb power-up, and you'll be seeing the gold bomber.
Hey guys, welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of
What?